Why do I get involved in these things? Why? How come I can't mind my own business? Okay, I need a tripod. So I've been depressed all day. It's a different era now in politics in New Brunswick. It's not the same. It's boring. The legislator, I mean, for me, it's like an era that changed. It's not the same thing like it used to be. I would go by the legislator and I would see politicians, and there was issues to debate, and the good old days. Chase after them and get some answers. Now those days are gone because of Corona. So there's one minister, Mike Holland, Minister of Energy and Forestry, which I'd like to know if he knows much about energy. But don't worry, I'll tell him, I'll ask him. So now you can't chase politicians. So what I do is, if they want an interview, no problem, for my 5 viewers. So I just found out today, where is it? I was shocked. Don't tell me I can't find it. Where is it? Oh, come on. There we go. Irving Oil request. It was denied by the New Brunswick Energy Utility Board. So he sent a letter saying he urged Irving to put a price hike, and they said no. So we're going to call the minister. He must be all depressed because they didn't follow his orders. So, you know, I mean, Mike is not a bad guy, so you know who your friends are when you're down. So maybe I want to pep him up by, you know, see if he feels bad and if he's crying, or, you know.
Hello.
Minister.
Hey, how's it going, man?
How you doing? Haven't talked to you for a while.
No, it's been a little while. Oh, good. Good.
So, are you depressed?
Depressed?
Yeah.
Oh, can't depress me, man.
Oh, by the way, you're on video.
I'm on video.
You're on video. I know. I asked you, so no problem. Everything's fine.
Yeah, no.
So, are you depressed?
I am the eternal optimist, my man.
You're not depressed?
Never.
The New Brunswick Energy and Utility Board told you to go F yourself.
You tell me anything.
Polite.
Sir.
They denied your request.
What? No, they didn't. They accommodated my request. My request was that they review a file in an expedited.
Okay. So seriously, what do you know about energy? I know Forestry, you know a lot.
Well, certainly. I mean, you know me for 12 years. I don't have a significant energy background, but that doesn't mean I don't have the capacity to take a significant amount of information in and then use the staff around me to interpret it.
So did Industrial Security escort you in there?
No.
So, talk to me. Minister, talk to me. What do you know about energy?
I actually, with 3 years worth of experience, whether it be the generation of renewable electricity, whether it be the current systems that we have, whether it be the projections that we have going forward to supply energy, a lot about the utility. No, I have a pretty significant bank of knowledge now after 3 years.
Holy Jesus, those Ritalin are speaking wonders. You really
Great focus.
Really, I'm very impressed. So there's New Brunswick Energy Utility Board. Who are they?
Yep. Well, it's an independent board that's at arm's length of government, and it's made up of a variety of people. Like you got your executive on it, your chairs, and then members, and anything. Well, there's a variety of different things in the Petroleum Pricing Act, and various different pieces of legislation that they're very much involved in reviewing. They review NB Power rate hearings every year. They come before them with the 10-year plan for the utility every year. So the full scope of it, I mean, I'm just kicking back on my couch here now. I don't have the full list of their responsibilities, but you get it.
Yeah.
They're an independent regulator that's purpose is to ensure that requests are reviewed and that we act in the best interest of our ratepayers and consumers.
So what they said, they rejected it. So is your boss, Mr. Higgs, all upset? Is he going to dissolve this board and put all Irving Hitchman in there?
Well, first of all, I haven't spoken to him. I heard the news there today that there was a ruling, but I can speak confidently that absolutely not. I mean, they're there to make rulings, whether it is to move ahead with something or to not, or anywhere in between. That's why they're there, to make those rulings. And then companies and organizations have to operate within the rulings that they put forward. Now, mind you, I haven't read, all my information has come from just quick conversations and media, but I'm going to be in my department tomorrow, so I'll have a lot more information on that tomorrow.
Yeah, so the board meets again in April.
Yeah.
And for the Irving to argue his case. So there got to be something there. Somebody got to make a few phone calls, and you sent a letter, and I'm sure your boss had to do something with that. But if industrial security shows up at your door and say, "Hey, you're going for a walk," you have no choice, right?
Well, I think we're a ways away from the cement shoes there, Charles, but.
Minister, my 5 viewers demand to know the truth.
Well, to put full disclosure with everything.
Full disclosure. It wasn't full disclosure. It was all blacked out.
Well, no. I'm talking about from me to you.
Oh, okay.
5 viewers.
Okay.
You've always shot straight with me. I'll shoot straight with you. I mean, a company came to us saying that there was going to be some significant issues if certain actions weren't taken. Now, it's not my job to make those decisions, and so I operated in the best way possible and said, no, I think that's the EUB's role because of the nature of what was told to me, and I mean, a certain amount of that is confidential. But if any company comes to me and says, well, here is a problem, and here are the consequences, if it's significant enough, I have to take that seriously. I'm not the judge or jury on whether what they're saying is correct or not, but when we have a regulator like the EUB, we refer to them, and
what you remind me of right now? You remind me of the Liberals when they were looking at me face to face during the election and said that Vickers will be a good premier. And I said, you can look at me without.
I'll get you with a straight face. I'm going to tell you something else. One thing that nobody seems to be having any conversation about is that every energy minister in Atlantic Canada did the same thing, because if there is potentially an interruption of the fuel supply chain in Atlantic Canada, it happened in Newfoundland, Charles. It wasn't just some smoke and mirrors. In Newfoundland, the supply chain for fuel got interrupted, and so what nobody is speaking about is that, and the fact that myself and every other colleague, liberal or conservative alike, and this doesn't have anything to do with politics or a party, did the same thing. We asked the EUBs to review this in an expeditious fashion.
As a supporter,
that stuff doesn't make it to the news, so I guess people are left to form their own opinions.
As a supporter, or a lobbyist, or whatever you want to call it, did you know what was blacked out? Did you see it as minister?
Not a chance, no.
Not a chance.
Nope. I didn't see anything.
Maybe it was all saying all the money the government is giving to the Irvings to run the refinery, and the profit is going to Bermuda.
Well, listen,
Maybe that's the information that's all blanked out.
take the focus off of that for a second, because I did not see any of that. But I do know damn well that if I'm sitting looking at thousands of New Brunswickers that their livelihood is now gone, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that at all.
What livelihood are we talking about?
Well, the workers within the refinery.
Within the refinery.
To risk it all to the paychecks and the day-to-day livelihood of the working class New Brunswicker, gotta take that seriously.
But Minister, during the crisis, people got no money. Even the CERB, okay, maybe they could afford the furnace oil, but bad timing. No,
You always call me Mike.
the what?
You always call me Mike, not Minister. Don't.
I'm there. That's right. I'm sorry, Mikey. Sorry about that. No, but seriously, that there, bad timing. And if it's such bad timing, how come the Liberals never questioned you during question period?
Well, I mean, not sure. You have to ask them. I think that I was full well ready to have a conversation in question period, very similar to having with you. Like,
And you didn't sleep for how many days? For about 4 nights, getting all primed up for question period. And
Didn't have to, because I mean, the old saying is if you're not lying, you don't have to have a good memory. I was ready to go. I always am ready to go because, I just lay things out according to how they happen. We live in a world of politics where people like to try to make stories seem like more than they are, but sometimes it just is what it is, and that's it.
It is what it is. Now, how's my 10 minutes are up? I apologize. Oh, I had to do the intro.
No, I'll always give you whatever time you need.
Thank you very much. Listen, any update for Forestry?
Nothing tremendous. We just closed the nominations for our conservation doubling, like the doubling of our conserved and protected areas. I've had my head down in that more so than anything else, preserving the trees more than cutting the trees. And we met from last I checked, and I'm like I said, I haven't been to my office in a week, but or since Friday. But I'm going to be there. Excuse me. I'm going to be there tomorrow, and I think we exceeded the nominated amount of land to conserve. So been doing a lot of work with that.
So you still haven't, Mr. Irving, lend you a plane that you could fly around and look at all the clear cutting, and I'll be beside you with a good pilot, I hope.
No, haven't been in any planes, brother. Haven't been in any planes.
So we can see the clear cutting firsthand and the growth, the huge forest that hasn't been touched. How many percentage that hasn't been touched? That's dead wood or whatever, old forest?
Well, better to put it in perspective, we've got 13% of the forest that's in plantation. What that means is it's clear cut, planted, and sprayed. So out of 3 million hectares of crown land, 400,000 hectares are in a rotating plantation.
And still, you're going to keep on spraying? No.
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
Let me guess. If we don't spray the forest, that means we got to do the same thing for the farmers.
Well, I mean, that's a component of it, for sure. But I mean, I'm not necessarily focused on agriculture. But here's the thing: we don't give forestry companies acres to cut. We tell them that they have an allocation for a certain amount of cubic meters of wood, right? Yeah, I don't know if it took me a little while to get my head wrapped around it, but we don't go say to a forestry company, here, you've got 500 hectares to harvest. No, we tell them you can get 500 cubic meters of wood. So if I can be smart and I can get that 500 cubic meters of wood into the smallest space possible, then that allows me more room to work on conservation initiatives. That way both work. It works for both. And then the companies get the wood, and I can do a variety of different things with the remaining amount of forest floor.
Why not just plant trees and forget the forest forget the spraying?
Well, because if we did that,
The dead
then
wood.
we wouldn't get the highest concentration of wood into the smallest area. Like if we snapped our fingers and stopped all forms of herbicide tomorrow, first of all, the agricultural sector would significantly be impacted with that. That's a story that you can chase down the agriculture minister.
But they did stop it in Quebec, though.
But Charles, apples and oranges. You realize that Quebec lost a piece of forest the size of New Brunswick, the spruce budworm. The sheer volume of forest in Quebec is a different story. Plus, by doing that, their yield on their plantations is down over 30%. They put the money into silviculture, the same as we do, but they're getting a 30% less return on their investment. The Auditor General will probably be upset at us if we gave away that kind of a margin on our investment for forestry. But I mean, that's a subject for a different story.
Yeah.
If we stop it tomorrow, then the forestry companies are allocated a certain amount of wood, and if they can't get it from a smaller piece of area because you can get the higher yields of cubic meters from smaller areas if you do treat it, then forestry expands significantly. Does that make sense?
It's a complicated issue, huh?
Well, it is. And I mean, at the end of the day, what I'm looking to do is meet the obligations that the province has for the wood allocations, because those are contracts, bottom line. It'd be like trying to walk in halfway through your mortgage and say, I don't want to pay it. And
That's the contract that was signed by David Allward in 2014.
The 14 agreement, yeah.
That's for another
evergreen agreements that are 25 years into the future, renewing every 5 years. They're contracts.
Yeah, and I thought that they would have, remember they were going to build some sawmill, they're going to employ this and that. Has it livened up to its height that it's supposed to be?
Well, they did. They put a significant investment into the mill in St. John, and they're continuing to do so there. Dollar-wise for the investment, yeah. I mean, it's a contract, and at the end of the day, I'm not going to throw us into a lawsuit fighting a contract that was put together. Whether it was right or whether it was wrong in 2014, it's irrelevant. It's there. So I need to make sure that level of wood is provided.
You be honest with me, Mike. You seen the change because they made sure that it came up to par. We never seen so many beautiful dirt roads in those forests to drive your four-wheeler down in the forest that you could visit, go hunting, go all over because of Irving built dirt roads there.
Whereas Forestry did build.
I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic here. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, but one good news is that our silviculture budgets and forestry management budgets are going to be reduced because all of that infrastructure is already in place right now. That's another thing that's a few years down the road is going to enhance the profitability of our royalty fees that we get from forestry. But there you go. There's another rabbit trail to go down. I could talk about this all day because it's so complex. And when somebody stands up and says, just rip up the contract, well, that's ludicrous. Can't do it. Be no more likely than standing there and ripping up your mortgage.
I asked it. Sorry, go ahead.
But we can put a balancing effect in place, like doubling the protected and conserved areas, like working to ensure that forestry and conservation is balanced when it comes to managing crown lands. I mean, it's a complex job for sure. But I think that we've made headway. I think that we have made headway. Perfect? No, I never said it was perfect, but I'm pretty proud of the last 3 years. We have done some good work. 2014,
when David Allward signed it with Paul Bichot, they were hailed as heroes by the Irvings. Denis Landry, the Liberals won with Brian Gallant, 2014, and Denis Landry was a minister.
Good minister too.
Yeah, whatever. I still flashback him being public minister of public safety. It's a Scottish thing. Anyway, focus, Charles. Focus, Mike. Focus. Yeah. And so turn around. I asked him about the deal, that David Albert signed. How come they don't rip it off? Like you said, rip it in two. He said it's very, very complicated. Very complicated. In other words, if they rip it, they'll have to pay Irving about $500 million.
Well, the simplest way to put it is it would be the same thing. Well, let's take a mortgage that's 25 years long and renews every 5 years. I mean, it's a contract that you enter into with the bank. And if halfway through a contract you said to the bank, you know what, I don't agree with this anymore, and I'm not going to live up to my end of the bargain, what would happen, Charles?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you take what you're presented. My issue was that conservation groups, like the Conservation Council, CPAWS, Nature Trust, those groups, Nature Conservancy, World Wildlife Federation, New Brunswick Wildlife Federation, none of those groups were at the table mapping out the forestry agreements. And one of the things that I was committed to was ensuring that when we manage our forests, you know, nothing is perfect and everybody needs to find compromise, but that it's a balance. There's chairs at the table for all sides of the equation.
All sides of the equation. That's the thing. I remember when J.D. Irving was at the convention center and everybody was all there. And David Cohn, that was before he was an MLA, told me to sit down with him for a coffee, and he explained to me this is not good. You know, he was all upset, and this was just hush hush. The groups to save the forest weren't involved in this at all. This was just boom, boom, done deal, and nobody was asked, and that's the sad part. That's why.
Well, and nothing.
And it's not only the Irving; it's all the rest of the forestry company also.
It's not just Irving. That's right. There's a bunch of forestry companies out there, but I committed to early days of making sure that there was chair at the table for everybody. I did meetings 2 summers ago where I brought together people from conservation and industry. We went off-site to meetings for a couple of days, people that wouldn't normally talk to each other. But I made them all come together in off-site meetings so that we could all hear each other, right? And I'll sound like a broken record when I say that this is not a magic wand or a silver bullet. It's not perfect. But it is moving the needle in the right direction towards balance and having all perspectives sitting at the table. And nothing done behind a closed door, and, communication.
Communication, very important, and thank you very much. I wonder, so my 22 minutes, I wonder how many of my 5 viewers are still watching this.
Oh, you're probably up to 7 or 8 now. Come on.
The what? 7 to 8? Yeah, 8. But how many are still watching after 22 minutes of, is it BS or is it facts?
I can't take my eyes off of your videos. I've watched videos of yours that were 45 minutes long because I'm always waiting for something juicy to happen.
You see my videos, you fall asleep. Okay, that's good. It's better than taking sleeping pills. Thanks a lot, Mike.
I'm coming up tomorrow. I'm going to be floating around. If you're floating around, we'll see you on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and then we'll go pick up DOG.
Socially distanced.
Totally distant mask, and we'll put a mask on DOG.
They want to put a muzzle on me all the time anyway.
I know. You're doing good. Don't blow it, Minister. Okay.
Always appreciate it, Charles. Thanks for calling me.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye. So how can you get, I mean, this is like he said, communication. So it's we got his words about what happened with the Irving Utility Board. That's why, sorry, Irving Utility Board. But what do you call it again? New Brunswick. What's his name? Oh boy, why do I get involved in these things? Why? New Brunswick Energy Utility Board. So they rule against Irving, and they got a full hearing in April. And the minister, Mike Holland, was when he made that letter. But it was funny the way that we went at it. And these videos here is non-editing, so he's not in deep shit just for you. I gave him time to explain himself. So it's good. Like I said, it's not like it used to be. Chase ministers on the street, and you see them because everybody has a mask, not a mask on, and the new ones, you don't know who they are. They're happy. They've never been so happy wearing a mask around the legislature. Oh, there's the blogger, but then you can't see them. Okay, Oh, 25 minutes, way too long. Okay, stay tuned.